Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Thunderbolts Doomstrike issue 5 by Jackson Lansing, Colin Kelly, Tommaso Bianchi, and Yen Nitro. Finale to Bucky's mission in the One World Under Doom event begins right here as Captain America and the rest of Bucky's Thunderbolts arrive to break him out of the prison in Doomstart. Steve gives Bucky his old arm back, having kept it ever since Steve fell in the Atlantic with it way back in the Sentinel of Liberty book, which is going back quite a while, and having that continuity show up here is great. The team get ready to leave, but Bucky refuses to since this is their chance to take Doom out for good. Natasha has to remind Bucky that trying to burn all this down is actually what started all of this, as they did the same with Red Skull, even using Doom to help them kill that villain. So instead of going for Doom, Bucky and the team decide they should just leave the castle with a few new scars to remember them by. Ghost Rider happily takes off to trash the rest of the castle as Folga Victorious arrive, deciding to have some fun with the heroes before they can escape. This really sets the stage for the rest of the issue, as it's the old Thunderbolts versus the new Thunderbolts in one last big drag 'em out fight. There is more to it than that though, but I appreciate Lansing and Kelly knowing that we want to see that. We want to see them fight each other, so that's what we're getting. Seeing the team, Bucky decides to go back to plan A, burn it all down. This gives us a chance to see Steve and Bucky team up, and it just hits like crack as Steve helps Bucky by passing him the shield and blocking oncoming fire from Moonstone. It's just great seeing them like work in tandem together. The shield actually gets used by quite a few members of the Thunderbolts. Even Black Widow uses it for a time to attack Fixer. Songbird gets a chance to have another fight with Mark Doom, realizing now that he's nothing more than a shell of the Abner she once knew, and to honor the man she loves, she is going to destroy the abomination in front of her. I really appreciate that every member of the team have their own kind of mini arc across the series. You know, Songbird facing her lost love and coming to terms with that, Sharon fighting to keep Free City free and not wanting it to fall like Shelbyville, the Midnight Angels trying to free Wakanda, Nat and Bucky looking to start a revolution, and then we have characters like Sal, who are just happy to be there, smashing fascists again. They're all pretty samey, but that's the point. That's what's drawn all these characters together, but I enjoy seeing it all come together over the course of these 5 issues. Bucky soon has to deal with Val again, as the villain makes her return, not wanting to help her team and instead wanting to focus on killing Bucky, figuring her team are losing, so why would she side with losers? Val again pulls the I know all along card here, figuring she knows Bucky will try and sacrifice himself to save his friends, like he usually does, and as Steve and Sharon are beaten half to death by Doombots, Val tries to get Bucky to give up and tell her that he surrenders. She asks why he clings to the idea that he has power in any part of his life, and Bucky has a pretty simple answer: revolution, since standing up for what is right when everyone else tells you is wrong is the right thing to do. Bucky smashes Val in the face over and over again with the butt of her own sword, which I feel like is a bit of a running gag because he's done this 2 times over the last couple of issues, and I like that seems to be like her kryptonite, as it just instantly cripples her and defeats her. As he defeats the villain and he tells her the revolution isn't a name he took after he left the Winter Soldier behind, it's what he was the whole time, and that's why he uses the name, so people know that it's never too late for a revolution. Listening to Bucky's words, Fixer decides it's time to switch sides, deactivating all of the Doombots with his powers, leaving Bucky to knock Val out cold once and for all. Fixer also comes through a little bit extra as he ends up dumping the team's eye cameras, the Shelbyville missile footage that shows that Bucky was actually trying to stop the missile, and much more onto a public server for the world to see. I said before that I like how each of the team got their own little arc, and I like how even Fixer had one too, having slowly come to the realization that the side he's on is not the right side, and this began 2 issues ago when he learned that Valentina was more than happy to sacrifice him and the rest of the Thunderbolts in the Vibranium mine and by bombing the Vibranium mine. It's something that he didn't know was going to happen, and that was kind of like his turning point and why he contacted Natasha and everything as well. The team all regroup as Ghost Rider sets fire to the castle, letting it burn as they escape. John Walker also manages to escape the castle all on his own. I kind of like that that's a little thing that's been in the last 2 issues where we've just gotten little panels of like John being incarcerated in Doom start, and then like he was freed when Ghost Rider kind of started trashing the place, and now he just kind of escapes on his own. And I kind of like that the team kind of forgot about him. I guess maybe they heard that like he did betray the team, so they're like, fuck him, but they left him alive and he was able to escape. And I like that he's still cool with Bucky as well. Like, even though he did betray him, he's still like, you're alright. I kind of like you more than I like Doom. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with him now, whether he's going to be part of that new Avengers book, just because of a little bit of movie synergy since he's in the new Avengers in the films. So it'll be really interesting to see what they do with John Walker going forward. As the team fly away to safety, Bucky notices Steve is concerned, and he's right, as Steve finds himself worried about his friend, yet impressed with how his partner handled all of this. Bucky doesn't want him to worry about him since the team are getting better and smarter and they'll win. Steve doesn't think that they can win against Doom since people want him in power and most people would call what they've been doing terrorism. Bucky begs to differ since both he and Steve call what they are doing justice, something they both have had stood up for multiple times. But the law isn't just, it's a tool of power, and as long as that power is being wielded by Dr. Doom, it's not really just. I feel like this is Bucky's realization that he isn't going to win via brute force, and instead this is going to be sort of like a battle of the minds, or a battle of Doom on a moral level. He needs to show people that Doom's way of justice is the wrong way. You know, they might like it, but it's the wrong way to go about things, because the way he does it, the correct way, doesn't involve taking over the entire world and subjugating them to a dictatorship. 2 weeks later, outside Shelbyville, Bucky and Nat meet up, with Bucky revealing he's been volunteering around the containment area of the town and doing what he can to help out. However, Natasha can see that this is just him punishing himself. The news keeps on spouting pro-Doom propaganda, making Bucky wonder if they even did anything and if it ever amounted to anything. Breaking news soon comes over the air, talking about the lightning revolution cropping up all over the world, with different groups of people attacking military infrastructure belonging to Dr. Doom. Bucky learns that the video of him trying to disarm the nuke that was dropped on Shelbyville went viral, and he is being blamed for all of these revolutionaries cropping up, but most of the groups actually claim they begun on their own, separated from Bucky, telling Bucky that his plan worked and the revolution has spread into the world against Doom and his rule. Bucky thinks that the people are going to get themselves killed, but Natasha thinks that that's not the problem. Problem is if they'll let that stop them. Now this is a very kind of spark of rebellion thing to end our series out on, but it makes sense. The mission was never to really fully stop Doom in his tracks. It was to inspire people to stand up against fascism and stand up for themselves. It also gives Bucky hope that the world will be okay and kind of sets him up to continue his mission over in the new Avengers. I guess he gets like almost like a new lease on life after seeing all of these revolutionaries pop up. He I guess is going to go and set up the team now because he's got that extra energy and drive now to do that. I also have to wonder if Steve was in the book in these last 2 issues, beyond helping his friend, as a more or less blessing to Bucky to begin the new Avengers team. Like it's him kind of like saying to Bucky like, hey, this is okay, you can do this, and maybe potentially succeed where Steve's Avengers team failed. Thunderbolts Doomstrike issue 5 rounded out Bucky's tie-in to the One World Under Doom story quite nicely. I loved the ramp up of the action here and how the little character arcs Kelly and Lansing set up for heroes like Songbird and Fixer all kind of paid off in this last issue in very satisfying ways. The stage is now set for the new Avengers to make their comeback, and I can't wait to see what Sam Humphries and his team have in store for Bucky and his little group in that book. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.